Hi everyone, a very good morning, and I hope that the Saturday is Saturdaying well and you're enjoying your weekend right. Today, on the 12th episode of Roundtable with Ritika, I'm very proud to announce that we have one of our very distinguished ESOL alumnus, and that is Mr. Akash. Mr. Akash has a very rich background in education industry, and we'll know more about him as we get to chat with him. So I'd like to invite him, and this episode is going to be exclusive as we dive deeper into his learning journey and experiences with ESOL. So I take the privilege to call Mr. Akash. Welcome, Mr. Akash.
Thank you very much,
Can you hear me?
Ritika, for inviting me. Yeah, thank you
That's
very
great.
much for inviting me.
It's it's our pleasure, and thank you so much for taking out time to spare with us to share your journey and inspire others to kickstart their journey. Welcome to this platform. You've been an incredible student with ESOL, and we're so excited to know about your journey. So, before we begin, Akash, could you please tell us more about yourself? How did you start? How long you've been into this industry, and just something more exciting about you?
Yeah, sure. So, hello everyone. My name is Akash. I am from Vadodara, Gujarat. So, about my education, I am an a hardcore engineer. So, I did my B mechanical, then I did my MTech production. For first 10 years, I worked as an production engineer in one of the India's largest PVC manufacturing unit. And then I have this organic calling for teaching, training, facilitation. So I gradually evolved myself as a trainer. So I took a lot of training, certification, and I started my own academy. So basically, for last 6 years, I have been working as a trainer, teacher, facilitator, and yeah, I have taught more than 5,000 students from almost 13 different countries, and right now there are 600 active learners. So it's been privileged to be a part of a training fraternity. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that, Akash. You mentioned that you come from the engineering and science background, basically. So,
Yes.
why the switch from the science and engineering to the language industry?
Okay. So basically, in my organization, where I worked as an engineer, my role was trainer. So, anyways, I had been training there also. But then gradually, I found the work very monotonous, and I had that natural calling of having this trainer, teacher, and facilitator for myself. So, uh, as I mentioned, I have been evolving as a trainer. I met a lot of smart people. Even I love to see some raw conversation on podcast, and then it was my natural calling in Corona, I due to some a lot of timing, like everyone, I took some certification, and that significantly gave me a new direction, and I changed the entire shift my journey.
Perfect. Sometimes it's not you who make the decision, sometimes it's the destiny that picks you for the right direction. Great.
Absolutely.
Yes. So story is already so interesting. So now that you mentioned you've already taught so many students, you have a rich background and you're calling for teaching language. What initially motivated you to enroll for this Certisol course with ESOL?
Okay. As a teacher, as a trainer, you have this privilege that whatever you learn, whatever you experience, you have a ready-made stage to deliver it, to showcase whatever you have been learning. So I am really fortunate that I have a lot of very smart students. I have been connected with them. So, as a teacher, I always try to learn world-class curriculums, fantastic things so that we can adopt in our own academy. And I think TESOL was a part of it because, frankly, I have been searching some credential programs because, anyways, you need some credentials as an English facilitator. So I think I was searching for a quite some time. Maybe I have talked with a lot of people because there are a lot of different varieties of TESOL and CELTA certifications are available. And maybe after my deep research, I found this particular platform was perfectly suitable for me. And especially thanks to you because, when I was planning this journey, even literally I watched these kind of podcasts of yours. My apologies, I forgot the names of your attendees, but yeah, it was really, it's a very, this is my appreciation to you that you're doing a fabulous job because, anyways, the teacher like us, they are really needed some in-depth information about these programs. So I think really I watch a lot of probably 3 to 4 conversation of yours on YouTube, and that took my decision a little easy. So yeah, you are a part of that decision. Thank you so much.
That came to me as a surprise. Thank you so much, Akash. And actually, the purpose of this podcast is to inspire others and actually make others listen to the story, the learning experiences of our current students. So they get a place and a platform to share, and others can listen it too. So now that you mentioned you've taken this course, how did the course content align with your expectation? Of course, before joining, because you did a lot of research, you would have a checklist that after the course I would want these things to be completed. So what were
Yeah.
your expectations and how did the course help you to fulfill those?
Okay. So basically, first of all, the problem with English teaching is you have abundance of resources because English is it's a language, right? And everyone has their own interpretation. If you just put a single topic on YouTube, on Google, nowadays on ChatGPT, you will see hundred of different ways to explain a same topic. There are a lot of interpretation, there are a lot of ways, there are a lot of programs which can be done in order to build your curriculum and everything. So frankly, earlier I already took a lot of certification, but still I found that something is still missing in my particular way of approaching this language. So then I checked the content of TESOL because you shared the in-depth means every day what we are gonna learn, you share the in-depth program. So then I check out and then I saw a lot of fascinated content that I can incorporate in my own teaching style. And the most fascinated thing for me during the journey is the structure. So now I can literally relate it to my previous version that even we were using the structure, but it was a kind of bits and pieces. So everything is scattered. And I think after this particular program, the fantastic thing happened to me is that now I know that right now I am at this particular level of my teaching. I know my entire structure and I can articulate my sessions in a very, very efficient way. So I think if you ask me the surprising factor, maybe the TESOL structure, the six-step method, which it's very easier for a teacher to just put your content inside the particular chunk and you have a fantastic session ready.
Absolutely. And also, when you have the preparation done right, the delivery is much efficient.
Yeah, true, very true.
That's great. So now that we're talking about course, could you describe or talk about a specific module, the different modules that were there, that you find particularly valuable?
Okay. So basically, let me just give you a better version of it. When you start your TESOL journey, you will understand that there are two major components of your journey. First is something called input sessions, and second component is something called teaching practice, in which you just simply deliver whatever you have learned so far. About input sessions, my God, every day I was learning something new. Every day I was literally fine-tuning my own content. So what happened? Let's say Krisher, he took a session, I reflect on it and I see, oh my God, what I have been doing. And I got now the more clarity on how to make it more efficient. Now, about a particular session or a particular module, I can pick two things here. So, as a teacher, as an English teacher, you are very keen towards the pronunciation because it's a very integral part of your process. Because when you listen to a wrong pronunciation, it will, bother you every time. So I give you one very good example. What happened? We have the pronunciation module in which there is a topic in which we were juxtaposing two languages. One was English and second was Thai. And then I was literally flabbergasted that a few language they don't have a particular sounds. So when you juxtapose two languages, you will get to know that in English and in this particular language, some sounds that really don't exist. So that particular student, he or she will not able to speak that particular sound. So then I entirely reflect on my journey, and then I got to understand that maybe in India also, every 100 kilometers the language changes, and you see different varieties of accent, different varieties of pronunciation, and then as a teacher, I got to know that you have to first understand your student's mother tongue. You have to literally do a lot of fine tuning. So basically, what happened? There are nine internal organs in your oral cavity in your mouth through which we are producing the sounds. And with your mother tongue and with your English, sometimes you need to do a little fine tuning. Your tongue position should be in a different way. You have to roll your tongue a bit. Maybe sometimes the alveolar ridge has a kind of a substantial role. So then I understand the nuances. What I did is now I can easily relate that okay, this particular students belongs to this community, this part of world. I have to check that what are the sounds are available, what kind of fine tuning do I need to do as a teacher. So it was a fantastic process. Now I can understand the nuances. And for last 3 weeks, we have been literally did a lot of upgradation in our own program and we got a fruitful result for that. So first, mentioning this pronunciation part, and second best thing was the vocabulary. So let's say as a teacher, as a student, if you wish to learn a vocabulary, we just do two, three things, right? We just check a pronunciation, maybe we check a meaning, or maximum you check a which part of speech this particular word is belong to. But I tell you, inside the session, there are nine pillars in order to acquire a word. So it was really a captivating session, the vocabulary session also in which we learned the nine pillars, how as a teacher you have to deliver a vocabulary, knowing meaning, knowing pronunciation, knowing spelling. They don't make any sense until you know everything about that word. So if I pick two things, anyways, the entire journey was fabulous. But if I pick two things, I think pronunciation and vocabulary, I literally we implemented from the next session. So I think, yeah, those two
Wow.
modules, fantastic one.
As you were saying, Akash, it itself sounded so exciting because, yes, to understand somebody else before teaching them is very, very important, and the background, especially the linguistic background they're coming from. So, thank you for such an in depth insight, and it actually helped us visualize that teaching language is not just about the outlines and the cream of it. You have to get in, get deep.
Very true.
Thank you so much. It's really getting very exciting. We are getting some questions as well. So, all the questions that we're getting through YouTube and Instagram, I would like to take that towards the end. So, please do answer them as well.
Sure.
Moving forward, what were some of the most effective activities or assignments that in the course you enhanced your learning with?
Okay, this is interesting one. So basically, after each session on your dashboard, you have a lot of activities. So let's say once you attend a session, you go back to your dashboard and you literally do a lot of activities which are parallel to what you learn inside the session, and even that give you a lot of clarity on what you learned. About the assignment, I think the best thing I can mention is that last 10 sessions, we were literally preparing our own TPs. This is something called teaching practice, in which there is a proper structured method in which you have to put your own thoughts, you have to put how exactly you're going to conduct the session. So basically, those assignments will give you a reflection of your own language acquisition, and it will literally increase your own horizon. So, as a teacher, sometimes you stick a particular workbook or sometimes a particular few teachers which maybe you found uh, good. But now once we done this kind of assignments, you will literally increase your horizon. You will get to know that it's a language. It has immense possibility. You have to be very good researcher. And I think what our trainer did is they made us a very fantastic researcher. You have to use this AI, you have to use this chat GPT, and you have to create a perfect lesson plan because we got a lot of input from him during the session. So I think assignment and activities, dashboard, and the TPs were I can choose.
That's great. And on the top of it, integrating the very essential and the top-notch AI in your
Yeah,
teaching practices when you can say that you're walking with the trend and the need
true,
of the
true,
hour.
true.
Perfect. Moving forward, Akash, how did the course balance theoretical knowledge with the practical teaching strategies? Of course,
Oh,
in some courses, there's only good things taught but never used in practice. So, how did you
right.
manage with what did you learn theoretically and how you could apply practically?
Now, this is a fantastic question. Thank you for asking it. You know what happened during our journey? So, what happened? Our trainer, our master trainer, Krish, he pick a topic and he gives four different kind of articulation for the same topic. So now as a teacher, you will understand, okay, for the same topic, there are different ways to present a topic. And now he will give you the in-depth version. For example, let's say if you're using illustrations, then this is particular method you are using. Let's say if you are using the question answers, then you are using this particular activity. So I think practical teaching was fabulous that, for a single topic, you will get to know the different varieties of your own articulation. Now, whenever you ask a question to to our trainer Krish, he will give you the organic transition of a language. So he will go back to the 1940s, that at that particular time what was happening, then what was the next transition, what was the next transition, and right now in the modern day English, how we use functional grammar. So I think theoretical knowledge was means literally well researched. We got of immense clarity that this language, this particular technique started from here, it ended here, the new technique started from here, and what was the organic transition. And even he gives the reason that what happened that you need to shift to the new technique. And then nowadays we are using something called communicative English. So it's a literally functional English. You don't learn those kind of sentence structure, subject plus verb like that. So I think practical and theoretical both were perfect, both were in a very equilibrium form, and we got a lot of insight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for highlighting this very important point, Akash. A lot of teachers are just learning and teaching, and they're actually themselves not aware about the bookish grammar versus the practical grammar that actually must be taught. So, yes, it's important to know the difference, and it's important to also inculcate the right one into practice.
Very true.
All right. So you did mention that you've been teaching students from different countries. Could you please name few countries that you've taught students from?
Yeah, so we have a lot of students from Dubai. We have students for Singapore, USA, Australia, a lot of students from different part of different means cities and different states.
That's great. So, of course, the students in India are very different from the students across the globe, right? So, in what ways did the course help you to prepare for these diverse classrooms? Do you keep all the
Okay,
students together or in different batches?
okay. Now, when you prepare your lesson plan, you start with something called aims of the session. So first something called main aim, second is sub aim, and third is called your personal aim. So this particular structure helped me a lot that now I could understand before I entering into the class that the main focus of the session is this particular thing. And then I go for my sub aim and my personal aim as a teacher, as a facilitator. Now, when you build your lesson plan, there is a something called I literally wrote it because I really wanted to mention this particular thing. So there is something called when you prepare your lesson plan, you just check first the analysis of language. Then as a teacher, your by your own self, you will try to anticipate the problems. So now as a teacher, now before I entered into the session, I know it's a diverse environment. And at the beginning of my lesson plan, I literally mention it that it's a diverse environment. What kind of problem will I face inside the session? And then as a teacher, you will try to put your solutions inside after that column. So what happened? It will give you an immense clarity that yes, we have a different type of students inside the batch, but during the lesson plan stages itself, you mention everything. So before you enter inside the session, you know that which material you're going to use, what kind of trouble will your student face inside the session. So maybe this lesson planning will literally, evaporate this particular diverse classroom environment because as a teacher now you are very perfect in terms of curated your own sessions. So that helped.
Yes, and that's actually a game changer because that transforms you as a teacher, unprepared versus prepared and prepared well.
True, very true.
Perfect. You've already mentioned it, but yeah, could you also throw some light that uh, how the course offered value for your money? Of course, when we're talking with new people, a lot of people are hesitant because this is a exclusive course and this is not for price sensitive people, right? So,
True.
of course, this is a self-paid course and this is going to be rewarding in future. It's only a small investment that you're making. But for you, Akash, from the time that you decided to invest in this, how do you think it has paid the value for your money?
I think this value for money, I'm a Gujarati guy. So we are business community. And before we invest a single rupee, we check the consequences and we check the value for money. And if something is not going in a correct direction, we always point out. In this particular journey, I can tell you it is not even the cost. This is something your investment because anyways as a teacher if you are well equipped you can make your students make your next generation better equipped. So literally, I did not consider this as any fees. This was really my investment. And over a period of time, maybe lifelong, I'm gonna get the returns on this. So I think if someone is just checking the price, it's really worth it. Equip yourself because as a teacher, you have that thing on your shoulder that you have to, transform your students. So I think it's a fantastic curriculum. You learn it and you will feel really equipped once you complete your journey.
Absolutely. And it's important as teachers to keep upgrading yourselves.
True. Very true.
Great. Now that we've talked about your past, a bit of your present, Akash, let's talk about your future plans. How do you plan to apply? these knowledge and skills that you've gained in your professional practices further? Like, are you trying to plan an expansion, or how you planning to take and keep the lesson with you forever?
Okay, I tell you a fantastic answer for this because what happens, let's say, like me, I'm an edupreneur, I have my own academy. The most hustling part once you start your academy is to find out some very competent teachers first. Number two, what happens, let's say I have my own academy, but what was happening that every teacher has their own interpretation of the language. So for example, let's say I have 10 batches of the same level. And if I just peep inside the classroom, everything is very scattered. All the teachers have their own examples, or the teachers have their, own interpretation, own workbook. So that particular benchmark we were not able to create due to the scattered thing. But now, after this particular program, I know that there are 6 steps. There is a particular structure, and you have to put everything in your structure, and unanimously you get the same experience in all the sessions. So it's a kind of an SOP in the companies. They follow the SOPs, the standard operating system. So this is kind of SOP as a teacher that you can literally put everything inside your SOP, inside your lesson plan, and everyone can easily replicate the same thing. So it was really hustling for us to, take the teacher, take a new teacher, then again give some training, and again every time we have to do the evaluation, check inside the session what is going on, give the feedback, and it was a kind of trapping. It's an endless loop for us. But now I understood that now my rule is very clear. Pick a topic, make a fantastic lesson plan, give perfect resources for that, and that's it. Anyone can replicate in a very fantastic way. So I guess in the future we have a very stable environment inside all the batches. So I think the structure thing is very beneficial once you finish your journey.
Yes, absolutely, Akash. Because so far that I could understand in myself being into this industry, I feel when you standardize the teaching practices, everybody has a goal to reach to that standards, and of course, that helps the students also get the uniformity and learn in a better way.
Very true.
All right. So everybody who's watching, you're watching Mr. Akash Thakkar, who has been the TESOL teaching English to speakers of other language, a course alumni with ESOL. He's talking all about that course. Any questions that you'd like to ask him live, please drop them in the comment box, and he'll be taking them towards the end. Moving forward, Akash, what aspects of the course would you like to see improved or expanded in future versions? That's very important for us.
I think it's a very elementary phase for me to, point out something which is very structured, which is really very much substantially strong curriculum. But with a very little knowledge, I could give you some insight from my end. So maybe, what I felt during my journey that after every TPs, I literally empowered myself. Because what happened, you have 30-minute TPs in which you literally present your session, then you get your peer feedback, and that you get your fantastic feedback from your master trainer. So what happened that after each TPs, I got a lot of inputs, and I literally transformed the way I was teaching. So maybe one thing is you can increase the more number of TPs. Maybe you can extend for 15 days because that was the charm of this ESOL journey, TESOL journey, that every time once you finish your session, you will get an in-depth mail after your TPs, in which your trainer will give you some good lines, but then area of improvement. So maybe that was immensely benefited. So first, I guess maybe you can increase the number of TPs. And second thing, what I felt during my journey that it could have been better if I got some real students. So what was happening that in my TPs, I knew, right? We have 3, 4 students, and anyways, we know that we are gonna deliver the session in front of them. And after a few sessions, you feel very comfort zone with your peer group. So maybe you can incorporate some real students, maybe the student who have been learning maybe this fluency or business English, and you can give that exposure so that you can get the real feedback, maybe the real environment of a session. So maybe I guess that two things, increasing number of TPs and maybe add some real students so that we can get the real exposure and you can get some in-depth more feedback from your journey. So I guess that two things.
Thank you so much, Akash. It was equally important, and surely this should be asked forward. Now, my one final question to you would be: what advice would you like to give someone considering the TESOL course with ESOL? And to give you background, we have interest received from different kinds of people into different phases in their professional life. Some are just beginning up, and some are into their later stage and almost approaching retirement, but still they find their interest here. So, just if you could throw some light on your advice and your, are
Yeah.
you
Am I
there?
audible?
Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Okay. And I think the same questions are floating in the comment section. Because when I was watching this kind of conversation, I was typing the same thing. Can just tell me the advice whether it's perfect to take this course or not. Guys, the one who are watching this, listen to this very carefully because I have been looking for this TESOL program for last 2 years. And frankly speaking, I talked with her probably all the available platforms who offers this TESOL program in India. I tell you one thing that first of all, you will find different ranges of the program. So someone will give you a ready-made TESOL certification in $20. You will see a lot of ads on your Facebook and on your Instagram. Second, you will see the different varieties. So someone will offer you the pre-recorded program, someone will offer you the in-depth live sessions, and I attended a lot of orientations also regarding this TESOL certification. Now, my quick piece of advice to you is first, always go for the live sessions because the most important part is the feedback what you get inside your journey. So maybe in the pre-recorded sessions, you will get a lot of information. But anyways, nowadays informations are floating free in your YouTube and in your Chat GPT and Google. So my advice is go for always live programs with good institutions like what ESOL is offering, because you get some authentic feedback, and those are not goody goody feedback. You will really see some very criticizing zone inside your session, and I think that thing will improve you. So I think what Chris Sir was doing inside the session, sometimes you feel like, yeah, I have been teaching for last 8 years, and this guy is treating us like a newbie. Right, but I think that particular thing is a masterpiece of this program, getting your analysis from a master trainer. So I think my quick piece of advice is always go for the live sessions. Advice number two, don't check out the fee zone. I tell you, it's your investment, and probably in next 1 month, if you improve your lesson plan, you will literally gain this money back. So it's a fantastic journey. I highly recommend everyone, and even this is my request to ESOL that if you could add some more programs, maybe CELTA programs or maybe a few more verticals to the ESOL. I'm ready to start my journey again because it's a kind of a ladder which gives you a fantastic returns.
Thank you so much, Akash. And I think what you said was not just the goody goody parts again, but also you mentioned the technical aspects of the advice, and that's very important. That shows how you have been into this journey through and through, and you've understood, and you're already implementing to see the benefits of it. Thank you so
Very
much
true.
for all the time that you have spent with us and all the kind words. We are eternally grateful to you. I'd like to ask some questions that has been posed to us by listeners and viewers. So, Miss Sushila, she's been watching since starting, and she wants to ask about the course details. Sushila, I would suggest you can get in touch with our counselors and they can help you understand. You can simply drop a WhatsApp on this number and they can tell you more about the course, right? So, they can also tell you about the fees, they can tell you about the structure, the duration, and everything. Um, but there's some eligibility as well. So, these questions must have been asked to you, Akash, as well, right? What is your background, what is your years of
Yeah.
experience, right?
Yes.
I have a question here. What was the kind of um, the fellow students that you had in your class? Were they like just any other teacher, or what's your say about the people you've learned this course with?
So basically, in my batch, we were three, and we have one more trainer. She was certified IELTS trainer, and she already did the IELTS masterclass also. So she had a very humongous experience for this IELTS and English journey. So every time I got a lot of feedback for from her also, and even that was really wonderful for me because when someone who really teaches in the real scenario for last 30 years, and if she is telling you something, that must be incredible, right? Second, we have a very interesting character. She is a housewife and she was about to start his journey. So she was just, kind of gathering some details, the best, learning platforms which are available around the globe. And even she was very enthusiastic that she did a lot of certification and maybe so even I got a diverse perspective of the language inside my journey. Someone who is very experienced, someone who is just, looking everything, just having that hungerness to just grab everything first before we start. So even we have a group, and every time we chat, we, share each other that what all other programs are available in the market. And even yesterday we had a very good conversation with one of our fellow uh, attendees. So yeah, it will be really helpful. You will get a lifelong relationship with some fantastic people, and I think that also helps.
Thank you so much for throwing light on that, Akash. Our next question is the TESOL program suitable for beginners or do participants need prior teaching experience? I think that's a very important question.
Would you like me to answer it, or I think you are the correct person?
Yes, I'd like to answer that. Thank you, Akash. Because this comes from the administrative part. So, of course, for more details, you can get in touch with our counselors. But for this particular program, we do prefer people who have a bit of experience in teaching, or even if you're an aspiring teacher, you should have that passion and excitement for the language. That's very important. This is not a casual program that you can just walk into. You need your time, devotion, and dedication for this. So, of course, Akash, I think you will agree with me. The assignments took a great effort from you. It required
Uh,
your attention and dedication, right?
it took gazillion number of hours. Means you have to stay long nights in order to complete your TPs. Otherwise, you will get harsh feedback. And
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. And definitely in life, if you expect a reward, you have to put in the required input. So then only things will make sense. So, yes, to answer your question, anybody who's an aspiring or just starting their teaching career can begin and take this course for sure. But The only thing is you need dedication and you need your commitment towards this course.
I can
So I think
add one more thing here for this particular question. Maybe prior teaching experience, what I felt is okay if you don't have any prior teaching experience, but I think first and the foremost thing is you have a good fluency. Because inside the session they are not gonna drag your attention towards your grammatical errors or your pronunciations error, right? So it's a kind of anticipated that you are very well fluent in English. You have been in touch with this language, not probably with the direct teaching experience, but maybe you read a lot of books, you listen to a lot of authentic videos, audios. So maybe what I felt is fluency is important because your trainer will not every time indicate that your tense has a mistake or maybe your pronunciation error or maybe your vocabulary selection is not good. So I think no experience is okay, but go for that fluency program first if you are feeling like lacking in fluency, and then probably on the later on stage you go for this ESOL TESOL program.
absolutely. Thank you so much. That's very important. And our last question for this is, could you please tell us how was your overall customer service experience at ESOL? Now this for you.
Oh my God. I think this is really fabulous. I tell you, I was constantly in touch with Aisha. She was she took care my journey, and even she takes care of my journey also. I think she's a fantastic person. Even at night, 9 p.m., you just drop a text, immediately she give you the response. Let's say if she delays a bit, she just give you the apologies for that. So I think etiquette wise, you guys are really fabulous people because this is something I felt lacking in a lot of institutions that you don't get a proper responses from your counselor or someone who walked you through the admission process and everything. So etiquette wise, fantastic. They are really means, if someone is pretending that they are helping you has a different genre, and if someone is really wanted to help you had a different tone, different thing. Even yesterday I had some doubt. I just dropped a text and she immediately called me. So I think upfront we pays everything upfront. So let's say if I don't get any proper responses, technically I don't have anything in my hand, but still professional professionalism wise, it was fantastic. You guys are really eager to solve our problems. Anytime if you have any issues with your logging or maybe with your dashboard, they will immediately give you the solution. They will text back you that everything is sorted out. Please check and confirm. So I think I can give you 10 on 10 on this particular thing.
Thank you so much for asking that, Akash. Thank you so much for putting light on that. And yes, I truly agree with you. Our counselors are not being told to particularly help only with the course, but instead help you in your professional journey, how you can evolve there as a trainer. So yeah, that's very important part of our culture. One last question: as a trainee, how would you recommend the teacher's training course to someone? What's been the most valuable part for you? I think we already did cover it, but if you could just.
Yeah, but in nutshell, if I tell you, once you start your journey, there are two different phases. First phase is something called your input phases, in which your trainer will equip you to start your phase number two. That is something called teaching practice. So it's a kind of a game that first they will teach you how to play the game, and then they will monitor you and give you the feedback. So first you will have a fantastic input sessions. You will get to know a helicopter view of this language as well as the minute things and what all things as a teacher you have to consider that. And then at the end of your first input phase, you are able to make a lesson plan. That is something called 7-step process. So as a teacher, now your the entire rule is you learn something. Now you have to fix everything inside a structure. so that you can deliver it in a perfect, efficient way. And I would like to drag your attention towards one thing, and this was really transformed my entire teaching perspective. That earlier I thought that teacher is the hero of your session. Your spotlight is on a teacher, but now I was wrong. Your students are the real heroes of your journey. All the spotlights are on them, and you are just a facilitator. You are just dragging them sometimes, sometimes just pushing them, sometimes just hand holding them in order to reach them to a particular destination. So I think I substantially reduced my teacher talking time. This is something called TTT. And the whole idea is this: inside the session you will learn that how to make them speak inside the session. You will have gazillion number of activities. So what we were doing inside the session, this will really fascinated me. Listen to this, who is really who really want to plan this program. And really this will amaze you that, for example, let's say if you have a 30-minute session, ideally, as a teacher, you have to only speak for 4 to 5 minutes. So, as a teacher, what's your rule? You just set an activity, just uh, side away, walk away through the activity, let them do their own research, let them do everything by themselves. Then you just act as a facilitator. And finally, the most important part is feedback, that whatever they did inside their own time, now as a teacher, as a trainer, you just give them a perfect feedback, which helpful for them in order to improve. So I think it's a fantastic journey. You will learn a lot of minute things as a teacher, and how to efficiently conduct your own sessions. It's really helpful. You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Akash, for putting light on these very important aspects. And yeah, sometimes you've been teaching for years, but little things that come to you as surprise, and you're like, oh my God, I have never done this, never heard of this. So, like, for so long years. And then the person who teaches you, you're so grateful to them. So
True.
likewise, we're grateful that you've spent your time, you've spent and you've showered us with so kind and informative words, and you've inspired, I'm sure, to many listeners that have been listening to you, and of course are ready to start their journeys now. On this note,
Thank you.
let's do you have any question for me, please?
Are you asking me?
Yes. Do you have any
Oh.
questions? I have asked you a lot of questions. Do you have any questions?
No, I think you are doing a fabulous work. Keep doing the same. Maybe invite all the participants, because I tell you, whenever someone is thinking about the enrollment, they have a lot of questions. Because what what do you feel that, let's say, at 20 days, how I can learn this entire language, right? 20 days even I cannot learn a grammatical topic. So even I was in the same dilemma, that how will I learn this humongous language in 10, 20 sessions with a few feedbacks here and there. But I think you should do more often this kind of conversation, so that because people, they do a lot of analysis from their end. They watch this kind of videos, and maybe they can get some more clarity. And maybe we really need some fantastic teachers in our country, so that we can empower our students. So you are doing something which is really transform our own country. Maybe you are a part of that particular thing. So maybe really keep this doing. Maybe have so many more. I wish you a lot of conversations like this, and people, they get a lot of clarity on their own journey.
Thank you so much, Akash. You've been really kind and honest throughout, and this means a lot. This actually fulfills the purpose of Roundtable, where we are actually able to transfer your journey through words with others. So, thank you everybody who's been watching and listening. This was our episode 12. See you again next week with more insightful conversations and experiential learning. Thank you.